According to the police working group report that was documented for better part for the last 1 week, 22 Kenyans have been abducted, 50 arrests, 300 injured, and 23 killed in the anti-finance bill protests. I need to put a disclaimer. This report is even distorted, and I believe the data is even more, or rather these numbers could even be higher. Ladies and gentlemen, in this channel I have always said humanity comes first. The mainstream media, and I've seen even a couple of other political analysts, are paying attention to one factor: the president's invitation for the Gen Z to come and discuss the issues on table. I think, with all due considerations, yesterday on Saturday I told you that I was standing right opposite the mother to Evans Kiratu in Kavaraine in Kiambu, and I attended that burial. Now the image of how the mother broke down when when Evans was actually being buried, that image is still fresh in my mind. And it reminds me of one thing. We can't talk about what the country is looking for and the reforms that are needed, but I think it is a matter of urgency and of great importance that we talk about the human rights, the police brutality. This is not something that is new. And today I listened to the president saying we must pursue the criminals, according to him, who burnt parts of parliament.
Na niwaombe hawa vijana wetu tuwaongeleshe. Hawana makosa, ni kukosa namna. Lakini as parents, as leaders, as church leaders, as political leaders, mimi na huyu Wabombi, sote tuungane, tuongelesha hawa vijana, tupange vizuri, ili waelewe we have a plan for them. Na mimi silaumu vijana wa Kenya. And nilisema ya kwamba hawa vijana wamefanya vizuri. Wamekuja, wamesema, tuko na maneno yetu hapa. Na walikuwa wanafanya hivyo kwa utaratibu na amani. Na walikuwa wanafanya hivyo bila ya kuchanganya na mambo ya ukabila, which is very positive. Lakini ndani ya hapo wakaingiliwa na watu wengine. Wale waliochoma bunge sio hawa watoto. Si ndio? Sio watoto hawa wetu. Wale walienda kuchoma bunge ni criminals ambao tutawatafuta. Hawawezi kuhepa, kwa sababu huwezi kuharibu mali ya umma. Tutaongea na vijana wetu. Tuko na mpango ya vijana wetu. Lakini wahalifu, wakora na hawa criminals pia tutawashughulikia. Kulingana na sheria. Hakuna vile mtu anaweza kwenda kuharibu biashara ya mwingine.
And I actually accept, we take that invitation very critical. But Mr. President, don't you also think, just in the same way we are going to pursue and look for the criminals that, according to the powers be, got to parliament, we should also look for criminal elements within the security system and also the goons that were planted and that caused mayhem to the members of the public, to other people's businesses. Don't you think the invitation, we need to extend that invitation further? I'm taking this with a lot of caution because last year we had anti-government protests. And I'm on record on this channel saying that police brutality was witnessed By that time, because some few people were dragged, not some few, some young people were dragged from their houses and beaten, and people suffered at the hands of the police, especially on Azimio areas, you know, the country had a setback and said, you know what, those are Raila supporters. And to some people it was cool. But you realize that second year in a row, we're having protests the same month in this year, and again, breach of human rights is not something of the past. It's still experienced. So, who is safe? And in this video, I want us to confront this. I listened to this video when Kalonzo Musyoka went to Kenyatta Hospital, and Kalonzo Musyoka was having an interview, and this lady interrupted. Allegedly, she was looking for the missing grandson, and she went to the emergency. I think she had walked the ward, and she was told to go and search for the child, for the boy, in the morgue. I just want you to look at her reaction here.
Ruto! Kwani Ruto sio mtoto? Hazo rafandi ndio tunalipa. Hazo rafandi Ruto ndio tunalipa. I want my grandson. If not that, Ruto, I'm coming na mguu hii yangu State House. And I mean it. Afadhali ungeliniua mimi. Sikuwa.
Grandson wako alifunga.
I don't know where he is.
Tangu lini mama?
Kutoka wakati hiyo Githurai. Murajerate niwe, murajerate abatutia kwa batia. Where is my grandson? Na Ruto ndio. Ishmael.
Na ni wa miaka ngapi?
21 year old.
Ni student.
Yeah. Where is he? Ruto ndio alifanya hiyo maneno yote. Ruto, utanipatia huyo mtoto ama unipatia wako? Si wako umeficha? Nimkose hiyo mochari mnaniambia. Nitaenda kuangaliliwa. Wai Ruto rutiga wana. Tokeria dashigana. 15 ya kutumalizia watoto Ruto. Uko na adabu. Shame on you 100 times.
Naitwa nani huyo mtoto?
Ishmael.
Ishmael nani?
Kamau, Ishmael. Ruto nipatie mtoto yangu. Ruto nimekuambia unipatie mtoto yangu. Sina mchezo. Ninakuja State House mguu. Na utanipatia huyo mtoto. Unipiga risasi mara 20. I might not die. Seeking for my grandson. Utatoa wako wanakura. Watu wanahangaika. Let me talk the truth. Wake wanakura. Watu wanahangaika. You could not have imagined kutoa ati amri. Are you chosen or you chose you? Shame on you 100 times. I want my grandson. And I need that boy. Wewe ndio utakuwa kwangu wewe. Utakuwa ukinipatia chakula. Ama ulipe hiyo shule. You have to pay.
And your name? Mom, jina yako?
Zahara.
Zahara nani?
Wanjiro.
Santi. Picha yake mama?
Sina, nimekuja tu kuangalia. Nikienda huko naambiwa nikuje huko Kenyatta, nimehangaika. Simuoni. Ako wapi? Nimeambiwa niende mochari. Maiti yote nitagauliwa. Pana. Ruto utatoa hao watoto. Utatoa huyo watoto. Nimeenda mochari. Nitaenda na mguu. Atatoa huyo mtoto.
And this is why I think we must have a candid discussion. The Kenyan school, you know, it's not what has been experienced in this country for the last 1 week is very shocking and should not go unnoticed unless people just, you know, I've listened to even the speech the president was speaking with the members of the clergy. He was telling them, you know, we need to talk, we need to discuss, we need to look for those criminals, we need to, I don't know what to do for the Gen Z. He had very poetic speech. But something kept on ringing in my mind. How about the people that lost their loved ones? How about the people that lost their children? It's true. The children, some innocent people were shot. And the photos and the images are all over. Just around the Githurai, and if there is a story, there are 2 instances we've been following. The Githurai and Rongai. And I listened to, who is this? Nominated member of parliament, Beatrice Elachi, saying that the operation in Rongai was alleged looking for that mess.
Uone damu kama hii tena.
Mimi nimeshangaa.
Basi ile inanishangaza. Nani aliambia hawa kwamba mess iliyobebwa ilienda Githurai? Manake hawa watoto wamelala, hawakulala juu ya jambo lingine. Kwamba watu wameenda kutafuta mess. Wamezunguka kwa manyumba wakitafuta mess, wakimalizana tu. Waweza kunyanyua watoto 272 na hampati kitu. Kwani hizi CCTV zetu mwatuambie tuko na security ya maana ya nini? Haikuonyeshana vizuri na iko. Hapo ndio sasa mimi najiuliza, ndio hawa watoto wapange siku kabla hawajaanza hii. Wataka kuniambia kwani tuko na security team 2 wale wanatupatia intelligence? Hata mimi niliyosomea intelligence. Hii mtandao kama wewe kila siku mwatupeleka pale Thika Road. Mwakili akianza kuongea unasikia hata wewe leo simu yako leo iko kwa mtandao. Na anyway, hata ufai kuweka kwa mtandao. Ukiwa na Android hata hapa sisi Liz, ukiwa na hii simu, wale wakitaka kutusikiza, wanatusikiza tu. Sasa mwataka kuniambia watoto walitupangia kabisa. Tukakosa kusikia, mkakosa kuambia Mheshimiwa Rais kuna hili jambo la pepeta. Mimi nimeenda Eldama Ravine juzi tu kabla haya hajafanya, nikaomba kabisa Mheshimiwa Msala yakiwa amekiti hapa, nikawaambia swala hili la hawa watoto sisi tuwachukulia mzaha, hawa watoto watapeleka nchi mshangae. Jameni, endeni mkaongee, walisimama. Bado mwapika, mmekuwa na kiburi ya Farao. Kwani roho spirit imekuja mpaka
So there seems to be a lot of conspiracy theories around what happened. And I think the public must be very keen. Why? You know, the very first speech the president gave the nation on Tuesday, I think, the Tuesday night, where he was so angry. You know, the president was very angry, by the way. He said the protest was infiltrated by criminals. I partly agree. And I think I have been saying yes. It's true that some people who went to destroy shops, break into people's shops, people that went and lit fires in the offices, like that of City Hall, even though I believe those ones were pre-planned, those are goons, those are criminals. But the number that was in parliament, that number was huge. So unless you want to choreograph it, and even in Embu, Cecil Mbarire, the Embu governor, was saying that some criminals invaded and burnt the KRA, the UDA office, and the governor's, part of the governor's office. Can you say to this angle of criminals?
Gen Z ambao walienda kwa street kudemonstrate wa peaceful na wakazunguka wakafanya mambo yao, lakini baadaye tukapata sasa wakora ambao waliingililia hiyo maneno. Na from the preliminary investigations inaonekana ni kitu ilikuwa imepangwa zaidi, na kuna wale walikuwa wameamua lazima ofisi ichomwe, na hata kama wangetukuta huko tungechomwa sisi wote huko ndani. Kuna officers ilibidi wapotee kwa dirisha pande ya nyuma because karibu wamaliziwe huko ndani. Na pia jia ile hii ofisi ilichomeka inaonekana ilikuwa imepangwa kwa sababu walikuwa wamebeba taya kubwa sana ambao walikuwa wakaleta na wakaimwagia petro wakawasha, na pia petro bomb ilirushwa ndani. Sababu ya hiyo ndio moto ilianza kila mahali kwa ofisi. So inaonekana ni kitu ilikuwa imepangwa, na kuna wale walikuwa wamepanga, kuna wale walilipa pesa. Nasikia about 350,000 was paid to the goons to come and burn the offices of Embu County government. So investigations zinaendelea. Tunashukuru wananchi ambao wameweza kutuletea videos, wengine picha, na tuko na lot of leads ya kuonyesha wale walikuwa behind this thing. Jambo la kusikitisha ni kwamba bali na wale wakora walitolewa katika county, goons ambao walitolewa wakalipwa wakaambiwa ndeni mfanye hivi, kuna wale walitoka nje ya county, sana sana kutoka pande ya Kirinyaga. So inaonekana ni kitu ilikuwa imepangwa vizuri, na ikasemekana tuharibu UDA offices, tuharibu KRA, alafu tuende tuharibu ya county.
So it's true that there were criminal elements. It's true that they were infiltrated. But with this video to the end, because there is a report that has been compiled by the Standard. And when you listen to that report, it's actually mind-blowing. And that is why I insist the public should not fall into the trap of being told those who are criminals and so we are going to pursue them. The point here is, as we pursue the criminals, we should also pursue the security officers and the fellows that were behind the goons. Because there are a lot that is happening in the background. We are not being told. Look at these photos. These are photos. They are photos, and there were photos all of. But they, contrary to other protests, this one, everyone was a journalist. You do something, someone is taking a snapshot, maybe akiwa huko kwa shop. There is a CCTV there, and everyone in town, I think the protesters were armed by their phones. And the phones were the tools because they were taking photos of everything. So those security officers that were maybe brutalizing the members of the public just went out of their way. But everyone in town was carrying a smartphone, and the smartphone was to be used. Remember, this is something that has to be interrogated more. Let us look at this report. The Standard published a story today, and that is the story they published. 500 goons. 500 goons hired to cause violence during the Gen Z demos, leaders claim. This is a report, and let me tell you, I just want to read bit by bit what is here. The story is saying, some crafty politicians had a hand in bloody protests in Nairobi last Tuesday. It has emerged, sources told the Saturday Standard, that some hirelings were ferried in buses from Mathare, Dandora, Kayole, and Kawangware, among other areas, to counter protests organized by youth and attract reaction from security agents. Sources estimated that about 500 goons armed with crude weapons were ferried from Kayole and dropped at various spots in the city, having been paid handsomely. Another squad of 1,000 demonstrators, also armed with crude weapons, landed from Mathare, while a third formation of 300 was transported from Embakasi South. Hundreds of demonstrators were also ferried from Kawangware and paid handsomely by a prominent politician, and our sources said the mission being to join a squad of 100 street boys to break into shops and stone the police. To conceal their identity and divert attention, some were ferried by motorbikes, while those from Eastlands alighted at City Stadium and walked into town in small groups to avoid calling attention to themselves. Other sources said that were ferried on Monday night and slept in Nairobi Central Business District, while others arrived as early as 6 a.m. to await the most opportune moment to strike, which was the epicenter of the operations and later wreaked havoc in Eastern Bypass. Some from Kayole were armed with crude weapons, including grinding machines and hacksaws, which they later used to break into shops and stalls. They broke into supermarkets, including Quickmart, on Ronald Ngala Street, K4 in Nairobi CBD, and Naivas on Moi Avenue. And they said, ladies and gentlemen, if you read that article by The Standard, it is clearly talking of prominent politicians, and rather the narrative of hired goons to cause the violence. I know very well, and I understand that the members of the public are only inclined towards one school of thought, the understanding on what exactly we are being on table. Things are not good, and I listened to a statement by, I think, a member of the family of Kenya School of Law president, was abducted, and then he was found somewhere dumped in Maragua, in Murang'a. The family was giving a speech in Nairobi, and they could see the way it's really a very tensed moment.
Actually, from what I've heard from him, he looked shaken, and he has told me that he was tortured. He has a lot of pain beginning from the neck and on his entire body, chest, and even the leg and ankles. So that one shows that he was indeed tortured, and he was under a difficult situation. Just hope you know what they are feeling. From my dad and all that, they are feeling so pain, and they were restless until this hour. I've been receiving several calls. People have been calling me to inquire how Joshua is, how we have reached with his condition, and indeed it has not been easy for us. So as a family, we have been shaken, we have been threatened by this issue, and being that Joshua is a young guy and should not experience this, I can assure you that indeed the family is not happy about it.
Kitendo ambacho kilitendeka kwa mwanafunzi wetu kilikuwa kimetia shule wasiwasi sana.
So we were promised by Kenya Kwanza that Uhuru Kenyatta was dumping people, under Uhuru regime, that people were being dumped in River Yala. And so the issues of arrest and abductions were something of the past. So it is not in order. I can tell you, if you go to City Mortuary, anytime, just walk through there. I've went to City since this protest started. I went to City like 2 times. I'm telling you, the scenes in those places are not looking very well. Shocking. And you wonder, what exactly, if people, do you want to tell me that the people that were in tweet space, in that tweet chat, are the fellows that went to break shops in town? No. It's indeed true, those were criminals. And that started because from day one, the protest was peaceful. But someone had to ensure that there is violence so that the police will get justification for their action. And in that, so many other people lost their lives. I've always asked, why didn't we shoot someone? There are people we shot getting to parliament. Yes. But within town, around the governor's office, around these shops that were broken, there is no single shot of a police shooting someone who is stealing in town. Yes. There is no photo. Yeah, police shooting live someone stealing in Naivas in town. Maybe around those shops in town, breaking to a shop, or even around that. But around parliament there is someone. So is it really true? Did we really shoot criminals? I think an investigation needs to be launched so that we find out, did we really kill criminals, or we just killed innocent Kenyans under the guise of killing criminals? That's a very important question. But that is a very important question that really the public needs to be given an answer. Why am I saying that the public should not normalize the breach of human rights? That must be a discussion on table. I believe so. That must be, and I think President Ruto must, that should be something to be discussed on table. It's equally as important as the other factors. Dropping, kata Kasari MP, sawa, it's important. Kata CS, scrap of CS, it's equally important. But the violation of human rights, a candid discussion is needed in this. Why? Because number one, the violence is a weapon of suppressing political participation. Let me tell you, if politicians will normalize, if people don't take responsibility, and then political machineries organize violence on election day, what will be the turnout? Especially even in urban center. Because in urban center is where there is these problems. If we normalize violence, that people who sometimes masquerade and plan these things are not really brought to book and doesn't face the law, then we will normalize the use of violence to suppress political participation. The biggest threat to William Ruto's term is these fellows in the street going to vote. Because if these fellows come out to go and vote, then things are going to turn. It's going to be totally different. Number two, the protest is slowly becoming the only tool for Wanjiku. Yes, it's the only tool now for Wanjiku because the leaders are not listening to what Wanjiku is saying. So because that is a tool, the public should not allow the political class to suppress it. And I also feel Kenya Kwanza is facing legitimacy deficit and will stop at nothing to get second term. I was just telling you, after the 1992 coup d'etat, Moi changed. If you read a number of books here, Moi changed. Moi became insecure. And that was the time when the intelligence was planted everywhere. I can tell you, even now, I saw someone saying, don't just speak politics in public carelessly. You never know who is there. The government is going to invest in intelligence. Because one of the things they've been complaining about, and I think there's a report we saw, that they did not know the magnitude of the Thursday protest. Rigathi Gachagua is saying, security apparatus were not prepared because they didn't know the magnitude of the protest. So we want to call Rigathi Gachagua all manner of names and all number of things we want to call it. But Rigathi could be saying the truth. It's truth. It's truth. So they're going to, there is a lot, the intelligence is going to be intensified. It's going to be more advanced. So Ruto has known very well whatever happened that this week, it's true, it shaked his first term, shaked his popularity, and is now saying, you know what, these young people are not going to give me easy time. And they will try to suppress any sort of mobilization of the young people. In fact, let me tell you, the reason why Kenya Kwanza is quick to bring the young people on table is because he knows they have the vote and they have the ability to kick Kenya Kwanza out of power. So any sort of organization, before I finish, let me just read, there is a post from Wahome Thuku, and was advising against any sort of bringing people to meet, or rather this talk. I just want to bring Wahome Thuku. I just want to get what he said. There is something he was saying about the members of the Gen Z should not accept. Okay, I just want to get, okay, I don't know where it was here. Yes, he said, Gen Zs, you are a specific group defined by age, set, and nothing else. You are united by similar interests, desires, challenges, aspirations, and motivations. Don't allow yourselves to be grouped and asked to appoint leaders into some amorphous committee or commission, unless you want to be finished or to finish yourselves. Kwanza, who will appoint these representatives? When? Where? How? Will you vote? Now let me tell you why your force has been addressed that fast. It's because you have numbers to send anyone home. Don't allow sideshows, please, and don't allow anyone to sit there and claim to represent you. Use your forums to discuss and agree or disagree on issues you have. You can even invite the entire cabinet to come there and listen us and take our notes. You are not holding night meetings and you are not meeting behind closed door or in Naivasha. You are online. Let them go and deal with those issues the best way they know how. Give them the practical solutions, but let them go and discuss them in those committees and solve them. Remain tribeless, faceless, and fearless. Anything else, you are doomed. I insist. Just as we discuss the other governance issues, one of the things that must be on table is violation of human rights. People should take responsibility, and there should be a way forward, clear, so that this issue of police brutality should be of the past, by the way. Thank you.